Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about why you need to prepare to work long hours. So listen, this really applies to anyone who's in their late teens and early 20s, mid 20s. But listen, long hours, preparing, like working either overtime at one job or two jobs, right, is going to be inevitable at some point, right? I think a lot of us who grow up with our parents, like we live with our parents for a good period of time, like I moved out of my parents' house at 22. Most kids, when they were the generation before mine, like the Gen Xers and the Boomers, right? Like they moved out a little earlier than us. But, you know, a lot of guys in Gen Z, some millennials, like we live with our parents till we're in our late 20s and 30s, right? But here's the issue. And I'm going to talk about how this relates to work ethic and, you know, kind of just having to endure long work periods. When you live at home, right, your parents are covering the expenses, right? They're covering the mortgage or the rent or whatever, wherever you live, right? Most likely they're buying food, right? They're taking care of maybe your laundry, your dishes, your dirty dishes, right? So you're kind of still, in a way, like a child, right? Even if you're in a full-grown adult, you got hair on your chest, you got hair on your face, right? You're still kind of like a child because you're being supported by someone else's work and someone else's labor, right? So in life, right, especially as a young guy, you're starting out, when you're first starting out in a career or in a business or in a profession, you're still learning, right? You still have no experience, you still have no know-how most of the time, right? So in the beginning, right, you're not going to get paid a lot. In whatever job you're in, whatever trade you're in, most of the time you're not going to get paid that much, right? So if you guys want to make a lot of money, right, maybe you want to move out of your mom's house, maybe you want to move up in a company, maybe you want to continue to develop your skill set in a trade and maybe form that into a business, into some sort of self-employment. That's great. You should have high ambitions. You should have high standards and goals for yourself. But in the beginning, you know, and again, the age range doesn't matter, but I'm just using like late teens and early 20s as an example. You're going to have to work those long hours because oftentimes you have to build your value, right? And you have to show other people, especially if you're in a profession, like, hey, like I'm willing to work these long hours. I'm willing to suck at this. I'm willing to learn as well, right? And when you approach life from that mentality, right, like, hey, I'm willing to work between 50 and 70 hours a week, right? Whether that's in one job, whether that's in two jobs, whether that's your own business on the side, that's when you start to get experience. And when you start to get experience, now you have wisdom, right? And wisdom and leadership coincide, right? So when you have wisdom and you have leadership and credibility in whatever you're doing, right? And people know, like, hey, this is the dude, like he knows what he's doing, right? He's experienced different trials, different tribulations, so he's a know-how guy, right? Well, then you increase the likelihood of being better off financially, right? And now, you know, you can welcome a woman into your life, you can invest your money. And guys, listen, investing is a privilege and a luxury to the people who have worked their asses off, right? If you don't work your ass off, if you don't move up, if you don't, you know, put in those long hours, right? Don't expect to have money to invest, right? And if you don't have money to invest, well, that's fine. Like, there's no issue with that because you're young. You still have some skill set to develop. You still have some different things you have to go through to get to a certain level, but you have to be willing to be at that level in life. Right now, as a 24-year-old guy, wherever I'm at with my career, wherever I'm at with this YouTube channel, wherever I'm at with my girlfriend, right, my living expenses, whatever shit I have to deal with, I'm okay with dealing with it, right? And I'm okay at some points having it suck, right? Because if I don't accept the fact that it's gonna suck at times, and especially in the beginning, right, then how can I go from point A to point B, right? If you don't embrace point A and you're just like, hey, like if you don't embrace humble beginnings like the Bible says, right, then how are you gonna level up, right? Because if you quit, then Or if you just say, hey, fuck it, I'm throwing in the towel, right? Like a lot of guys do. They don't work long hours. They decide that they're not going to change. They're going to stay the same, right? They're going to live at home, right? Live off their parents till they're in their 30s, right? And then most guys wake up at 30 and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you still can do it, but you could have saved yourself 10 years, right? And here's the thing. Me and one of my friends, we always talk about this as like a principle. You're always, no matter what age, you're always gonna have to at some point work like a freaking maniac, right? Especially in these times right now. If you don't have the money you want, if you don't have the status you want, if you don't have the women you want, right? If you don't have the living situation you want, there's no one out there that's gonna save you. The government isn't gonna save you. The government doesn't care about you, right? Your fellow human beings, I mean, people care about you. Like, hey, like if you were getting beat up or about to get stabbed, like, yeah, I'm sure someone maybe would step in and be like, hey, that's not right, or try to break it up. But as far as your ability to thrive and overcome and live a well-established life, no one cares about that, right? Everyone's focused on their life, you know. And don't look for other people to be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna help you, you know, for free. I'm just gonna guide you through life, right? Like a lot of guys think that they're just gonna be helped by whoever, right? And you know, mentorship is great, but you have to be the 50%, right? Your mentor is giving you 50%, you got to give him the 50%. So if that's the case, right, with you, and you're still struggling, you have to be willing to suck in the beginning, and you have to be willing to work like a maniac. And that doesn't mean you'll do that forever, of course, right? Like there's going to be times where you can maybe work less hours, right? There may be a time when you're in your 30s, your 40s, if you do what I'm saying, right? If you hold yourself accountable and are consistent, there may be a time where you don't have to work 70 hours a week, right? But you'll have to do it at some point, and I think the best age to do it is between 18 and 30, right? Even me right now, I'm not working 2 jobs, but I kind of am, because I'm, you know, and it's not as laborious, but I still have to come on here, I still have to produce, I still have to show up every day, because I have to prove to the marketplace that, hey, I'm a consistent guy. I'm about what I do, right? I'm not hey, I'm just gonna make a YouTube video today and just say, fuck it. Hey, I'll just make a YouTube video whenever I want. No, this is a damn profession. This is a damn consistent side hustle that will eventually take over as a full-time thing, right? And that's how you have to approach life. You have to approach life like, especially as a guy, no one's gonna give you shit. No one's gonna love me for any, no one's gonna love me unconditionally, maybe except my mom. But even your mom, like I said, even your mom might just be like, yo, you suck. Like if you're, you know, and it's weird. As I get older, like I look back and I'm like, yo, when I was in my teens, like when I started to hit puberty, even my mom, like there would be times where I'd want something, right? And my mom would be like, yeah, go get a job, right? She'd be like, oh well, go get a job, right? And in a way, you know, I kind of was like, yo, like, fuck, like, she's being an asshole right now. But now when I look back, I'm like, I'm glad my mom told me no at certain points in life. Like, because there was things I wanted. There's you know, you're a kid. You want to play video games. You want to buy toys or whatever the fuck, right? And she said no a lot of times. And in a way, that kind of helped me, because I'm like, you know, if I'm told no, right, then that implies that I have to do something, right? Because I can get to a yes, but I have to do something. I can get to a yes where a girl would want to have sex with me or want to, you know, start a family, but I have to prove to myself that I'm capable of that. And she, as a result of me being capable, would want to have sex with me. Like, hey, this guy has money. This guy can protect. This guy can provide, right? Etc., etc. So as a dude, you're not going to get valued for anything other than what you can provide. And in the beginning, you have to be willing to suck, right? But you have the most energy, right? So in your late teens and early 20s, you have the most energy, the most testosterone, right? I recommend semen retention for any dude, right? Really at any age. You really shouldn't be spilling your seed that much at all, unless it's with your girlfriend or wife. And be willing to be a workhorse for a good 5 to 10 years. If you're willing to do that, I can promise you, with whatever career, whatever profession, it'll be a little more smooth sailing later in life, right? And I'd rather have it be smooth sailing in life later on in your 30s, 40s, and 50s and beyond that than have to worry about your paycheck, right? Like going to nothing after an 80-hour week at age 51. I work with someone right now who is 52 years old, right? They have to work. She's a woman, right? And again, I don't know her life situation. I'm not trying to bash her, but she works 70 hours, between 70 and 80 hours a week. She makes $14 an hour. Her paycheck goes all to expenses, loans, car payments, insurance, food, gas, interest, everything. It goes all to that. There's nothing at the end after a 70-hour week. Can you guys imagine? This gets me hot. Like, you guys are gonna start to see this. If you work 80 hours a week, right, and your paycheck doesn't go to anything but your expenses, that is scary. And you can sense, like, I'm around her a lot. I can sense the fear. Like, hey, like, if I miss a day, I will be homeless. Do you really want that? Do you really want that? I don't think you want that, right? I don't want that. That's a life or death situation. And that's the reality. If you don't do the work now, if you don't increase your knowledge, if you don't increase your skill set, you're going to suffer somehow, some way. There is no way around it. Ayn Rand says, you can avoid reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. What are her consequences now? I gotta work 70 hours a week because I was a shit. I don't know. I fucked up in life, right? Whatever circumstances, this and that, right? But as a guy, no one is coming to save you, right? She's an old woman, so she can get on whatever, and maybe a guy will take her seriously. Maybe a guy will come help her, but as a guy, you're fucked if you don't figure it out, right? Like, you're fucked. So prepare to work long hours in the beginning, prepare to suffer, prepare to develop yourself, and in the end, you will win, right? You will eventually get to a level in life where you can work a little less hard, right? You can spend a little bit more time with your family. You can spend a little bit more time with your girlfriend, right? You can spend a little bit more time enjoying the weather like me. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.